In October,
being
5 months later, he said that it was all a social experiment on an episode of the conservative podcast Prime Time with Alex Stein. Seiter said the purpose was to expose how gullible and delusional the left is. What I did is I faked being a faker, he said. I pretended to be a pretender.
But
yeah, well, that's
right.
The thing is, like, people don't want to admit that he's correct because it makes you insensitive. But what he's saying is, like, logical.
Right.
It's logical.
My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself, why would I make time for you lames? At all costs, cause I'm a boss. I'ma break them off, yeah, gotta break them off.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Prime Time with Alex Stein. I'm your host, Alejandro Stein, and we got a great show for you this evening. We have on trans icon, legendary troll, the one, the only, Josh Seiter. Josh, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate it.
You know, it's funny that you're here considering, you know, all of the drama that you've been in recently. People were tweeting at me when they just saw that I posted you're coming on the show that they were happy that you were alive. So is it true? Are the rumors true? Are you dead or alive? Can you debunk? Can you tell us what the deal is?
I'm alive. I know it's very confusing because people thought I was a woman, then I was a man, then they thought I was dead, but I'm alive. And, you know, I'm actually very sorry for all the hurt that I may have caused people that truly thought that I was gone. I don't take that lightly.
Look at you trying to babyface already. Within the first minute, you're already saying sorry. I did not expect you to do that.
Well, it's true. I felt horrible that that's what I had to do, but I felt I had to. I had been doxxed in November by the trans cult. And because of that, I was being harassed. I was getting thousands of messages and calls on my phone, and people were showing up at my house. I had a video crew sent to my house. It got really bad. And so me and my team felt the only way to kind of just get it to stop was make this announcement, let things cool off, and then a few weeks later I could kind of come back to social media.
Make what announcement? That you died?
Yeah. Just so that people would just leave me alone. Like
because of the doxing. I mean, but okay, Justin. Let me just. You want people to leave you alone, so you say that you died, and then everybody's going to be talking about you. Isn't that the opposite of what you want? If you want people to leave you alone.
I didn't see it that way. Like, especially on X, there's so many people, like especially the trans cult, just constantly going at me. And so when I posted it, I knew they were going to be so excited, like, oh my God, he's dead, and which is what they did. I mean, they were all posting that Josh was dead, thank God, you know, or, you know, stuff like that.
How does that make you feel, seeing people celebrating your death?
I didn't care. At that point, I just wanted the harassment to stop. And also there are narratives, false narratives being woven about me, completely false, saying I was secretly trans, I secretly enjoyed being in lipstick. Just literally, like, I am one of the most hated and bashed people on social media, and I don't think anyone understands it. You can't understand it until you live it. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I just was dealing with inordinate amounts of hate. And so
you're saying, what you're saying is that you and Dylan Mulvaney are similar in that regard. Yeah. Dylan Mulvaney's universally hated for the Bud Light thing.
I mean, but I'm on the right side of truth. Dylan Mulvaney's on the wrong side.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter how you get there. You're getting to the same spot of hate. Am I wrong?
I mean, we're both universally hated by one side of the aisle. They're just two different sides.
That is true. I believe that you are making a much different point than Dylan. And have you seen Dylan's surgeries lately?
I mean, he looks the same, but so does Lily Tino, who's
Lily Tina, just ridiculous.
He keeps posting me constantly.
What does Lily Tina say? That's the one that got their throat shaved and their throat almost looks bigger because it's like
Lily Tino's made like 6 videos about me. They did one of me being transracial. They said I was one of the most evil people on earth. Josh Seiter is the real rage bait. Yeah, they're obsessed.
They are obsessed, but I'm obsessed too because, you know, you dragged me into this, and I hadn't even told you this. I meant to tell you this earlier because I got a call. It's so funny. I mean, it is funny now. At the time, I was like, what's going on? You know, I sent you a couple messages, and you sent me some messages back about your team. And you talked about, and you were right. You said that the Joe Rogan clip, you guys saw the clip at the beginning. That's great. The world's biggest podcaster shouting out this show, this humble show, a Prime Time with Alex Stein here at the Blaze Network. Please, guys, go subscribe. But I'm very thankful for that. I want to mean that. I really do appreciate you coming on this show and always being I know you're lying with some of your bits, but you've always been truthful on the show, I feel like. And I think with this death hoax, you did it at the wrong time. And we just kind of scraped by the Scott Presler thing. You went so viral. So can you talk about the reaction of going super viral with Scott Presler, from those pictures and stuff? Where was that? The Great America Fest? What is it called again?
Yeah, it was the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
And that's his stomping grounds. He's like a celebrity in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. So he had asked me to come out there. We had talked. He had DM'd me initially in September. Said, like, I think I know what's going on with this trans thing. Hit me up when you're a hot male and we can mate.
Wait, slow down. So you're telling me you get a message from Scott Presler saying, and I believe you. I mean, I guess you can show it. I know you've already leaked a bunch of text messages, but I don't want to get in trouble with Scott. We like Scott. I'm a Scott stan. I appreciate Scott helping Trump win. But he sends you a message saying he wants to mate?
Yeah, that's what his initial message said. And I was like, I didn't know who he was. And then I saw once Trump won the election, people were like, oh, it's all due to Scott Presler. And so I was like, oh, that's the guy that had DM'd me. So he had left his number, so I hit him up and I was like, dude, thanks for helping win the election. And he's like, oh, yeah. So we got to talking. And after a while, we decided, hey, it would be really funny if we did another troll, did it together, and we pretended like we were dating. And we posted a bunch of pics together holding hands, shirtless in bed, working out. He could say he made me turn me from a woman to a hot man. I could say I was making him into, a buff dude, whatever. And so we had all these ideas, and he's like, look, come to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be there for 10 days at this Great American Outdoor Show. We'll film 6 months of content in a few days. I'll get you a hotel room right next to where I'm staying, and we'll do all this. And I was like, all right, cool. So I drove out there. It was like a 10-hour drive because I'd been flying from Timcast.
But what did you think you were going to go do out there? So you guys thought you were just going to make content. You're going out there just strictly for content, basically. That was your motivation.
That's what I thought.
What do you think he wanted, though, sending you messages about mating and stuff? It seems like he wants some sort of, something sexual.
Well, looking back now, hindsight's 2020, I'm starting to think he had ulterior motives because it didn't turn out that way. So I confirmed with him like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, so you're down to make, content for this troll? And he's like, absolutely, we'll get 6 months worth in the 3 days you're here. We'll take tons of pictures and videos. I was like, all right, cool. He knew I was straight, so I wasn't worried about anything. So I got out there, and we really weren't taking that many pictures. I was more or less just at the booth, and then we would like talk in the hotel room or whatever. And so we ended up posting one of the pictures that went viral, and everyone was reposting it. Nick Fuentes, Stu Peters, and we were getting a lot of hate, which was the whole point of the troll. We wanted to kind of rile up conservatives with,
by being gay.
Yeah, 2 guys holding hands. It was supposed to be satirical and funny.
It was a funny picture. It was funny. Okay, so you're smart. You knew that you're going to trigger people, and so you kind of triggered all the right people that get really mad. But Scott obviously did not expect. I know, but Scott didn't expect it to go that viral. So what was your reaction from Scott once everybody was talking about it?
Yeah, so when the first picture started going viral, my second day there, he started freaking out, and like George Santos, of all people, called him. I had just done George Santos's podcast in New York. And
did George Santos try to have sex with you or anything?
No, he's weird. He's a corpulent, pathological liar.
He is, George is? I kind of like George. He's always been nice to me, but I always feel like he wants to have sex with everybody that he talks to.
He's nice. He was very nice and accommodating. He sent a driver, and
That's nice.
For me, his studios were very nice. He was cool, but he's a pathological liar. And so he called Scott as soon as our picture was, going viral on X. He's like, you need to be very careful about what you post. People see you a certain way, and if they see you making romantic content, they might turn on you. And that's kind of what was happening, was the, mega base was going after me and Scott. But I thought, hey, that's the whole purpose. We're here to rile people up. We're here to troll people. This is, what it's all about. And Scott freaked out, and he's like, hey, I think we should kind of cool it on the pictures and stuff. And
do we have that? Do we have full screen 13 and 14? I think those are the Scott Presler tweets. So this was the original one. What order is this in the tweet?
That's 13. And
so
then,
let me pull 13. So what is this? Was this after the fallout? Josh, like, where is this in the timeline of
So this was like a month after the original post together. These were some pictures we had taken as part of the troll, and I was like, I'll just post them. I mean, I have them. I wasted all that time out there. I'll throw them up and see what happens, and yeah, I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. Milo Yiannopoulos
arch nemesis of the show, Milo Yiannopoulos. Go ahead.
He
please.
messaged me and was like, "This is the funniest top tier troll I have ever seen in my
Okay,
life."
real quick. I'm starting to notice a trend. George Santos, flaming homosexual. No offense. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Milo Yiannopoulos, flaming homosexual, says he's straight. Yeah, right. And then Scott Presler, flaming homosexual. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Seinfeld. These three gay guys are fighting over one fake transgender reality star. Is that what you're telling me at the end of the day?
No. They're not fighting over me. It was just I'm friends with.
Well, George Santos is kind of you are the reason they're fighting, right?
George Santos is just a gossiping, pathological liar. With Scott, going back to your question, I don't know his true motive. He told me we were going to make content for 6 months and 3 days, and it turned out we didn't really do.
It looks like y'all are in love in this picture, like, and he's holding your arm right there. I mean, be honest, Josh. Did you do anything with him? I feel like he. What you said? What did you call it? The poop hole loophole? Did you guys do any poop hole loopholes?
No, I didn't do anything with Scott. And it's weird he's getting so bent out of shape because I saw Daily Beast and Mother Jones, did these huge exposés on Scott. I guess he got fired from the Virginia Beach RNC for having anal in the office there. And
I saw something about that. Yeah, that's pretty bad stuff. But we love Scott. He's done a lot to help out this Trump administration. But everybody.
It's just weird because then he posted the pictures allegedly in Mother Jones and Daily Beast, according to them. He posted the pictures on Craigslist, and that's why the RNC won't hire him. And it's why Laura Trump won't.
Well, we don't know that that's the case. We don't know.
Allegedly, that's what the articles are claiming.
Okay, but do you feel bad though? You like Trump? I don't even know if you like Trump. Do you like Trump?
Yeah, I like Trump. I just think there's kind of a cult of personality around him. But I think Trump is a net positive for America. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Well, and because you're a smart guy, law degree, you understand that people love Donald Trump in a way that they've never loved any celebrity or politician before. And that you look at a guy like Scott Presler, who did so much for Trump, you had to have known that even becoming enemies with Scott, who you started out as friends, that's usually how it happens, would give you a lot of backlash with the MAGA movement, who was cheerleading you through this whole transition, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't bother me. I'm always going to stand on the side of truth. I don't care, which way it cuts. And so I thought the posts were funny. Everyone on X, thought it was hilarious. I really can't. It sounds like Scott has insecurities around it. It's weird that he's afraid to be himself and his own base will turn on him when he's just being himself. And he seems to be afraid of his own base. I'm not afraid of anybody. And
that is true. Josh is fearless. I'm not here to kiss your butt. You are fearless. You don't worry about the backlash. And then we just have full screen 14 too. So this is actually a different picture that you shared, just kind of cuddling up. But this was was this the nail in the coffin? Can you go through the timeline too real quick of this? So he says, "Oh, I'm going to expose you." What got it? I didn't even follow it. TLDR, too long, didn't read. What the hell ended up happening with all this and tweets and leaked videos? Like what happened?
I don't know. I didn't watch anything he said. As soon as I posted the shirtless pic, he was hitting me up on all the platforms and calling me, and I just ignored it. I don't know why he's freaking out. It's just a picture. That was the reason I went there. I confirmed with him multiple times.
He is gay, right? I mean, it's not like he's a secret that he's gay. He's not in the closet.
Right, and that was the whole reason I drove out there. So it was just weird, but I thought the posts were funny, and it sucks it upset him so much. Maybe it's giving him PTSD from the Virginia Beach incident where he had allegedly anal in the office and then posted the pictures to
I don't know about that, but I mean, he's a gay man. I think they do have anal, so I know we can probably corroborate that. But okay, real quick now, Josh, I want to get into, we can go back to Scott, though. This is one thing. We've talked about the death hoax. Already we're moving along, but this is my favorite thing. And Josh, this isn't a big surprise. This is a little surprise. This is what I really want to bring on the show. This is my favorite thing. Now, do we have this? This is full screen.
2A. We're bringing it up.
Josh, this is your public dating life. Okay, can we go through this, Josh? This is some of my favorite people on here.
This is hilarious.
Amy Slayton, 1,000-pound sister. I want to go in order real quick. But You've been simping for that woman. Can you explain this right now? What you're in love with Amy Slayton, and I love the 1,000-Pound Sister. So please, can you give us a story?
Man, it's so funny. So many people don't understand this. A lot of what I do is a troll, and I make it very evident usually when I'm trolling. Hey, this is satire. Hey, this is to push buttons. I'm a provocateur. It's all about the Overton window. I like to just push boundaries.
Joe Rogan's talking about it, so you've been successful. I'm not trying to white nice, so you are good at doing this stuff. But yeah, explain to me how you're trolling.
Yeah, so every relationship I've had has just been, the Amy Slayton thing was kind of an indictment on the body positivity movement. The Yolanda thing was an indictment on interracial dating. The Gypsy Rose thing was kind of the intersection of murder and love. And then the thing with the drag queen with Monica was to kind of set up what I was going to do with the trans troll. It was kind of to ingratiate myself.
So that was kind of your studying. Oh, wow. See, I didn't actually think about that because I know you told me this story about it. We don't have any clips or anything, but this drag queen, what did they say? This is a famous drag queen, right? They won the show or something?
Yeah, they're on RuPaul's Drag Race, and they've done like 250 interviews about me, claiming we dated, and the whole thing, like with Scott and everyone else that you've shown up there in the flow chart, it was fake. And so I was shocked when, after hanging out 2 times and posting, she had a professional photographer she hired to go on our fake date so that we could post the pictures to social media. It was a publicity stunt. And then she went off script and started saying it was real and we really dated, but she only did that after the trans troll to try to take shots at me because he was angry what I had done with the trans troll. And so I was like, this relationship was fake like all the others. So Alex, all my relationships, we
have to go through the first one. Let's just go through them in order real quick because it's so funny. So Caitlin Bistro is the girl from The Bachelorette. And can you tell us a little backstory? Because I don't know if we ever got into it. You and I have talked off camera about it. But you got on The Bachelorette. Didn't you do something crazy during the casting thing? What did you do again? How did you get on the show?
Yeah, so I stripped out.
That's what it was. Yeah, okay. But then they told you to strip on the first episode and that guy gets you kicked off. So give us just the Cliff Notes version of this story.
Yeah, so I applied for the show. I got on the show. I had just graduated law school a year and a half earlier. I wanted to lead kind of with my intellect and my brain, the cerebral side, and they wanted me to lead with the physical side. And I said, no, I really don't want to take my shirt off the first 2 seconds of being on the show.
And they were forcing you. They're like,
they came to my hotel room 3 separate times the night of the limo entrance and really said, Josh, you basically need to do this. It will be great for ratings. And so I caved and I capitulated and I did it. And they immediately kicked me off. And then Chris Harrison went on The View and the morning shows the next day and said, how trashy was that guy stripped on a first date? How creepy. Who does that? And I was like, you guys forced me to. And so I went to TMZ.
Fake, like they pick which girl to pick which guy.
Yeah.
But how much influence do you think he has on the dating game of The Bachelorette?
I don't think Chris Harrison has much influence. I felt like he was just a mule that they were sending out the next day to do their bidding. So they gave him a script and told him what to say on the morning shows. So it was less Chris Harrison and more the producers I blamed for the remarks he made the next day. But it was just ironic. Like, you guys make me do something and then criticize me for it. So that was kind of my experience.
It's what we call in the business 4D chess, Donald Trump style. They knew that they were going to eliminate you. And they didn't care about you. They don't care about anybody on a reality show. Even the person that wins the show, they could care less about. So you go on this show, you have a fake 1 date with this girl. You know that the production basically kicks you off. You get mad at them. And then from there, you have kind of a long gap. We don't really know your dating history. But now, I love 90 Day Fiance. I'm not kidding. I think the show is so funny. How the hell and Corinne's my favorite. I think she's so funny, her and that what's the guy's name? Paul? Yeah, Paul's so funny.
Yeah.
But Yolanda Leaks, what the hell? How did you get with Yolanda Leaks? Can you please give us what the hell this is all about?
We came across each other on Instagram in 2021, I think, or 2020, and we started messaging, and same exact thing with Scott, with Monica, all the rest. It was like, hey, I think it would be really interesting and it would pique people's interest if we did this publicity stunt where we said we were dating. I never met Yolanda.
So you never even met her, and she dated which guy on the show?
She had a boyfriend the whole time we were doing it. She had a live-in boyfriend. She lived in Vegas. I was in Chicago.
Was she a foreigner guy living there with a
She got catfished by a personal trainer that she thought was a hot guy, and it turned out to be some African guy.
Always Nigerian scammers. I actually love Nigeria. It's a great place. But yeah, I think Egypt is the biggest country in Africa, or is Nigeria? I don't know. Jimmy, fact check me. I'm just saying they're good at scamming. Let's just be real. They're like, you know, they're good at some stuff. They're good at that. So she got scammed by a guy, and she got catfish, so she was extra vulnerable, and then you kind of exploited that.
No, I didn't. It actually benefited her. So her followers grew by like 30% during our fake relationship, and we were constantly in communication about what we would post. So it was, you know, a symbiotic relationship.
Well, I like that. Okay, so you helped her too, and you guys said y'all were actually fully dating. That was the okay. Now, Karini, she's ruthless. She's way crazier than you, dude. I watched the show. Yeah, she's made Paul do some sick stuff. And now I think she's stolen the baby. I think the latest on Karini from 90 Day Fiance, and don't quote me, chat, correct me. Probably nobody in the chat actually watches this show because you guys are probably, you know, well-adjusted human beings if you're watching my show. But I believe last we heard from Karini, she stole the baby and ran back to Brazil or something. Do you know what the latest is?
Last thing I knew, CPS had taken their kids.
That's what it was. CPS took their kids.
And she has to like go see them at a courthouse or something in a room with CPS watching. It's a very depressing situation. I don't even remember, honestly, how we got to talking. It was on social media. And same thing. I mean, we actually hung out 3 times.
Wait a minute. Wait. So you've hung out with? Do we say Karini? Because that's how Paul would say it.
Maybe.
Have you and Karini hooked up?
We didn't go all the way. No.
What have you done with Karini?
I'm a gentleman.
You're telling me, though, you've hooked...
It was basically a fake relationship.
Well, where was Paul? Because she was with Paul this whole time.
Oh, she was already broken up with him. He was actually in Brazil at the time. She was in Kentucky.
Okay, so she's the one from Brazil, and she's in Kentucky. This is how this show makes no sense. But Paul, the guy born and raised in Kentucky...
ended up going to Brazil, leaving the kids who are in CPS custody, and then she stayed with him, yeah.
Why did he go to Brazil?
To be with an 18-year-old girlfriend.
Oh, to do the whole gimmick again?
Yeah.
So what's wrong with Paul? What did she say about Paul? He has autism or something.
Yeah, he's like autistic. He like did a car bomb where he set someone's car on fire and like blew up a house. He's crazy, yeah.
Gosh, and then it gets even crazier after that. Then you go next to Netflix's own Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who murdered her mother. Well, can you give us the backstory? What is your love or your relationship with Gypsy Rose?
Me and my buddy, we were bored one day, and he said, dude, how funny would it be if you just use Securus? He's like, Gypsy Rose is about to get out in 6 months. He's like, jump on the Securus app and try to message her in prison and tell her how beautiful she is.
Wait, time out, time out. So you started this before, you were this deep into it. She's still locked up. And you're in this Securus, what is this, an app that you can contact women in prison, I'm guessing?
Yeah, and so again, it was just like this ridiculous thing, and so I messaged her, and I was like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, keep your chin up even though you murdered your mom, and she ended up posting it and was like, I hate you, I have a man that I'm in love with, leave me alone, Joshua Seiter, and it turned into this feud that in touch or
wait, you're telling me while she was still in jail?
Yeah, she is in prison and was
I didn't even know this. So Jimmy was talking about some of the controversial people you dated. I saw Gypsy Rose. I didn't know the backstory.
It's so ridiculous. That's why when people are like, Josh, you really dated Monica, a drag queen, you actually secretly like trans women, and I'm like, I allegedly dated a murderer. I allegedly dated a 6-year-old named Yolanda. I allegedly dated Scott Presler. Like, it's all fake, and it seems so hard for people to understand, Alex, that social media is not real life. That reality is not, totally different and distinct from what's online. And that's why I do what I do, to show people, in part, that what you see on social media isn't real life. And so I really hope that people can actually get that point and understand, looking at my life, social media's not real. In fact, my real life, most people don't even know about. They don't know the real me.
Well, I think you could say that with everybody, like, right, even if you don't have a lot of followers, everybody still has like an online persona, just kind of what you put out there, and obviously that's going to be different than the real you. But just like, at what point do you have the success? You're on the Joe Rogan podcast, or you're getting talked about, you're making waves with this social experiment. But now, is it all worth it? Because you're in the doghouse, you're on my show, I have to kind of confront you, I have to call you out. You know what I mean? Like, what's next, dude? It seems like right now you're on such a good trajectory, and now I feel like we're trying to do a rehabilitation project, and you just canceled yourself. Does that make sense?
I don't think I canceled myself. I think
You don't think that you got a lot of hate from this last stunt? You don't think, though? I mean, I can't even speak. Daily Mail called me. What's the deal with Josh Seiter? Multiple people reach out to me. Is Josh okay? Is Josh okay? People were serious. People were serious when they messaged me that, Josh.
Yeah.
People were actually worried. I'm not even trying to troll you right now or anything. Like, people were actually like, is Josh okay? And I was sitting back like, yes, he has to be. I feel like I would hear from somebody in your family or something if you actually died. I hope somebody in your family would contact me. But I wanted to be positive. But I saw people that and you know who reached out that I can't even think off the top of my head, but people that I was surprised were fans of yours, Josh, were worried about you. And that's, I'm sure if I was going through that just a little bit, just, 4 or 5 messages, you're probably getting hundreds of messages.
Yeah, I feel really bad for people that were genuinely hurt by it and genuinely believed it. But again, the reason I did it, and I stick by this, nobody knows what it's like to get the hate I got after the trans troll but me. And there's a lot of people that want to speak up now that weren't defending me. When I'm getting tens of thousands of messages and comments daily telling me to die, telling me they want to kill me, telling me I'm a transphobe, telling me I'm the worst person on earth, I'm the one who has to deal with that. And so it's really easy to sit outside and judge me and judge my actions and judge what I did to deal with that. But unless you're in my shoes, and there's very few people I can think of that could say they've been in my shoes where they did what I did at the level I did, where hundreds of millions of people saw the trans troll, 600 million views worldwide, everyone's talking about it, and most of it's hate. I mean,
99% of it's hate.
99%.
But you had Joe
to
Rogan, the #1 podcaster, giving you love, and now what do you think Joe would think if he's? I'm sure he probably saw your second death hoax. I guarantee you he saw that on his timeline.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't. I did what I felt I had to do to get the personal threats, the threats against me and my family. People showed up at my home with video cameras after forging Daily Wire contracts and stealing them. Daily Wire is suing them. I had to talk to their chief legal counsel and their editor-in-chief. All of this stuff's been going on for the last 4 months since my reveal on your show. And I and only I have been dealing with it. No one else has. And so again, people are welcome to judge me. I actually don't fault them for it. But again, only I know what it's like to be subjected to that and to be in the spotlight. And don't get me wrong, I deserve whatever scrutiny I'm getting. I did the trans troll. I did it publicly. I'm leaving myself open to criticism, and I'm fine with it. But when it gets to death threats and people coming after your family and, people coming to your house, it's a little different. And so I did what I felt I had to do for my safety and my family's safety. And maybe it was the wrong way to handle it, and if it was, I apologize. I apologize to everyone out there, regardless.
I think that's a big thing, a manly thing. I don't know. It makes you a man for saying sorry, but when we talk about like this whole social experiment, and you talk about how now you're saying sorry. How do we go on from this? Because I know there's people probably mad at me right now that I'm not like fighting you. I saw some tweets like, what's next for Josh Seiter after this death hoax? You're going to die again? What are you planning on? Who are you going to date this time? Didn't you already try to date Casey Anthony? I saw you tweeting at her.
No, I mocked her video when she came back.
But you would date Casey Anthony right now. If Casey Anthony messaged you, hey, Josh, let's do one of your fake relationships, you would say yes before she could even finish typing.
Well, she's a child murderer, so I would.
Gypsy Rose is a mother murderer.
Yeah, but her mom had Munchausen syndrome by proxy, now called factitious disorder imposed on another. And so I don't think there's any culpability there for what she did. Casey Anthony wanted to party and kick it at Disneyland, and so she murdered her 3-year-old daughter.
She accidentally left it in a trunk. The trunk murdered.
It's not it was a child.
Yeah, I know, but it was just a late-term abortion, according to the left.
Casey Anthony is hot, but she is a child murderer. But she's kind of hot, but she's a child murderer. So no, I wouldn't date her.
You draw the line at that.
I would draw the line at that. Yeah, I'm not a
That
fan
is
of
the line. I'm
child
just saying,
murderers.
everybody else who
I know
murders her
liberals-
mom, that's fine. She murders her mom. She murders anybody
I
else.
know liberals are all about late-term abortions, post-term abortions. Casey Anthony is probably their idol. George Floyd is their idol. They absolutely love him because he used to rob pregnant women at gunpoint.
Speaking of George Floyd, can we play a full screen 17? I don't even know if they're going to let us show this on. They let us show this on YouTube? Josh, you kind of mentioned this just
They'll probably
briefly.
take it down.
Yeah. Do not say the N-word. We have African Americans on our crew. You're wearing this in front of your cell phone, but you wouldn't wear this in front of an actual black man, would you, Josh?
I mean, a lot of my friends are black, so if you actually read the caption, it's hard for me to read it, but I know what I posted. It was analogizing woman face.
It says, I was assigned Caucasian at birth, but I identify as black.
Right.
Woman face is the new black face, and it will be remembered as such. And then you are doing you have a black and mild, and you are painted brown.
Right, so it's the point I'm making, which you already know, but to people out there that don't, is trans women are doing woman face, which is modern day blackface. Blackface is offensive. Woman face should be offensive also. Why are we forced to applaud and celebrate woman face, but we're supposed to castigate and excoriate blackface? And so that drives home the point pretty strongly, and so that's why I did it. Obviously, I'm not saying it's good to do a menstrual show. I'm not saying it's great to do blackface.
And your teeth are all white. You're literally doing a minstrel show right there.
And I'm condemning it. I'm saying it is offensive, and woman face is offensive, and I know our intelligent viewers out there all agree that both of them are offensive.
I agree with you on that they're both offensive, but I noticed you're wearing a Detroit jersey. Is that because Detroit was a great city and now it was taken down by inner city living and urban development?
Yeah, it's kind of a double entendre. I mean, look, Detroit has been ruined by liberals and Democrats like most cities in America, and also it was on sale for $7 at TJ Maxx, so that's why. I don't like to spend a lot of money when I'm doing my trolls. Evidence.
I know, you do. Yeah. You do it pretty inexpensively. Now, Josh, actually, speaking of money, you had Tim Pool, you've been on all the big podcasts and stuff, but isn't it hard to make money doing all this, Josh?
Yeah, there's not a lot of money involved, and a lot of people say, oh, you sold your soul for money, and you sold, I didn't sell my soul for money. In fact, I didn't make any money during the social experiment and the trans troll.
You did sell something. Now, Josh, I did not realize this until you do have how many? 989,000 Instagram followers?
Yeah.
Don't act all humble. Don't act like that's not a big deal. Don't act like that's not a big deal.
I mean, I don't think about it, but
you're almost to 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And how many impressions are you getting a month?
Oh, a month it was like 25 million, but it varies. During the social experiment, it was like 30 million a month or something.
And you have a link to a very interesting website on your Instagram, don't you, Josh?
Yeah, well, I have an OnlyFans.
Yeah, Josh, full screen 18. Yes, you have an OnlyFans. What is this, Josh? What the fuck am I looking at with this picture, Josh? Somebody sent me this. Sarah Fields, who is probably your arch nemesis. I like Sarah, but she can be tough. I don't want her coming after me. She sent me a picture of this, and you told me something about this, but are you making any money from this, Josh? And at least it's not your butthole, I'll give you that. But what the fuck am I looking at, dude?
Yeah, so I've had an OnlyFans for 7 years. It's a way to, like you said, podcasts, they're not paying. You're not paying me to be here. The social experiment didn't pay me. So in order to, have a life where I can do social media full time, I have to have some sort of income. And so
you make money from just doing that belly picture?
Yeah, like belly, gut pictures. But during this time, I said I was 330 pounds. So because there's this whole thing where it's just like, if you're big, you'll make a lot of money. So I held like a backpack with bricks.
To make yourself fatter?
To make the scale.
Josh, you're in good shape. You're just having a zero sugar energy drink because your diet's...
I think I had just eaten a bunch of hamburgers when I did
You know what's sad? Because I know I bet you wish you could be fat, but you also can't be fat, right? Like
I don't want to be fat. I used to be I was 235 pounds in 2018.
But that's not obese. That's still fat. But
235 pounds?
Was that obese? I mean,
I never said I was obese, but I used to be overweight. Now I'm like 194. So no, I don't want to be fat, but yeah, I have an OnlyFans. Yeah.
Did you make any money from this OnlyFans?
Yeah, I've made
Everybody, dude, I'm anti-OnlyFans, but if you want to go look at a naked man's belly, I guess you can go look at Josh. I would not do that, Josh. Are you still doing OnlyFans so you still can go get this?
I have an OnlyFans. It's mostly just like shirtless pics, stuff like that.
Well, Josh, you are crushing it, dude. I hope you can make some money, but this is what I'm really frustrated about. Now, let's get back to a little bit of seriousness. You see, this is the newest Blaze Frontier magazine. Everybody needs to go pick up this magazine. But in this magazine, you have, even in one of the exposés, is Scott Presler. And the reason why I show this is that this should be Josh Seiter. You know, you should be in the Blaze magazine. No, I mean that. We should be featuring, you know, an expose on what you're doing, but now when you do stuff like the fake death hoax, it makes it harder for even me, you know, I'm always going to support you, but it makes it even harder for independent news people to try to gas you up because they feel like, am I getting trolled? Am I supporting a guy that's later on going to, you know, do something? So, like, I guess my point is, let's have a serious talk. Like, I think you're very talented. I think you're very smart. You graduated from law school. You're obviously not a dummy. I think your skills can be weaponized in a way for good and not in a self-sabotaging way that I make those mistakes. I self-sabotage too. I have those same problems that you have. You and I are very similar in a lot of regards. And I see you go viral with the Scott Presler thing. Instead of just making that kind of this bad thing that ends up being positive because you get a lot of attention from it, then you double down. You go with the Trump kind of method of doubling down. I think that's probably what you're kind of, little logic, you know, just let's just double down. And that's how I do it too in my debate style, however it is. And it's causing you more problems than it's solving you. Does that make sense? Is that fair? I mean, I know you said sorry.
I mean, again, nobody, unless you did, you know, the trans troll for 6 months.
I know.
Pissed off hundreds of millions of people. I think it's very hard for people to understand and empathize. Again, don't want any sympathy, but to just understand the amount and the intensity of the hate that I get. So you may have dealt with it a different way. I dealt with it in the way I thought was most effective, which was to just kind of end it for a while. But I totally understand why people are upset about that and angry about it, and I apologize to the people that were hurt by it because I wouldn't want to cause hurt to people in my personal life that I care about, friends, people that are followers, people that are fans, people that followed me and you through the reveal and onward. You know, Tristan Tate reached out to me, right?
Hey, your friends are Tristan, and see this other reason too. You know, Tim likes you a lot. Tim Pool, friend of mine, friend of the show, and then it kind of make Tim Pool look bad. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you actually made Tim look bad. He's never.
Yeah, no, I get what
you know what I mean.
Yeah. And again, I weighed a lot of things, you know, the goods and the bad that could come from what I felt I needed to do. But at the time, I was being inundated with hate, both virtually and in person, and I felt that was what needed to be done. But again, probably the wrong decision. Hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah. I'm not one to never apologize. Looking back, probably the wrong decision. So again, I apologize to anybody I hurt.
And we all accept your apology because, listen, we're all happy you're not dead. I mean that. We are happy that you're not dead because for a second I did believe it. I'm like, what the hell? But then it said you're in Mexico, and I'm like, I thought Josh is.
Well, and also something else people don't understand is the left-wing media, and Joe Rogan talked about this on his show when he was discussing me. He's like, the left-wing media is putting out really weird pieces about Josh Seiter. He's like, why are they wording it this way? Why are they saying he's transphobic and he's weird for doing this?
You did date a trans person, so you can't be transphobic, right?
Well, a fake dated, yeah. And so even Joe Rogan noted that the left-wing media was doing hit pieces on me because on his show he was reading from this They Them magazine article that wrote about me, and he hit the nail on the head. The left-wing media was just putting out tons of articles about me after my trans troll, and the right-wing media was not there to counter any of this. So there's this dominant narrative about me from the left-wing media for 4 months after the reveal on your show. And I felt like no one was backing me up. And again, I just felt backed into a corner. And I felt the only way to escape the media scrutiny and the social media scrutiny and the personal threats was to do what I did. And again, I understand why people, you know, were hurt and put off by it, but unless you have left-wing media coming after you and you have millions of people online coming after you and kind of vilifying you and you're the most hated person by them, it's really hard to understand what I was going through. But the left-wing media has done a lot of hit pieces on me. And that was a big contributor to me being like, I don't know what to do now. So
Josh, I have to ask you that serious question. Are you gay?
no, I'm not.
You're not gay,
If I was gay, I'd be super like out and proud about it. I have gay uncles. My uncle's gay. I have a trans niece that's 22, which is a big reason why I did the.
You told me about the trans niece. That's kind of crazy. What does your niece say about you being way more famous than they are, and kind of lampooning their whole lifestyle? I'm sure that caused Thanksgiving and Christmas to be awkward.
We haven't talked about it. She's my step niece, and so we haven't talked about it. And I'm estranged from my older brother, that's his stepdaughter, and don't talk to his wife, who's her mom.
Is she weird? Did they get the woman that you married?
Yeah, well,
it's like, don't you have to? Didn't the parent basically almost have to, even though maybe they're 22
I believe
at this
the
age?
parent of my trans niece has Munchausen syndrome and probably Munchausen syndrome by proxy. But she's an addict. She's a raging alcoholic, and she's also been addicted to a bunch of other drugs, and she's parasitic, and she actually goes on Reddit and writes about me all the time, even though me and my family haven't spoken to her in over 3 years because she's an addict. And we're estranged from my brother because he's with her. She's just a toxic, degenerate addict, and her daughter is the one who's trans, and I love her and care about her, and that's why it frustrates me to see that my niece, who has had mental health issues, as many people have, has been taken advantage of by the trans cult.
See, people probably don't realize that, why you are so
Yeah.
affected by this, because it is like a family member that's caused a lot of issues, being your step sibling, your brother's wife's daughter. Yeah, I mean, it makes it very complicated. So this is an important topic, but at the same time, it's like, man, I just see all the good work, and I'm like, I'm Team Josh, and then the fake death hoax comes out, and I'm like, oh gosh. And Daily Mail called me, and I told them I thought it was fake. Did Daily Mail even ever write an article? Because they said, listen, well, did they? Because they said they didn't want to write it. The guy's like, I like Josh. The reporter likes you. Yeah, he likes you a lot. Jules, or what's his name? Jocks. Yeah, kind of a name like that. Something funny. They loved you. They love you. They're like talking about how they talk to you and they like you, and they're like mad at you. So I wasn't the only person that likes you, that was annoyed with your dumb ass doing this stuff.
And that's the thing. I considered all of that. People are going to be mad at me. People are going to be angry, but that just speaks to, and that's an indictment on the amount of hate that I was getting, that I didn't care. I felt like it needed to be done, and I knew people were going to be mad at me, but I wanted the hate to stop. Like, I pissed off tens of millions of people. And if you go to my Instagram today, every day my trans videos are still getting hundreds of thousands of more views. They're all in the millions. There's tens of thousands of comments under all of them. Every day I'm getting tens of thousands of more hateful comments from people on the left that are, coming after me. And so it's kind of a never-ending thing. I knew when I did the social experiment that it was probably going to last forever and the hate was going to last forever. So that's fine. I invited it. I felt like I stand on the right side of history. I feel like I proved a point. And Tristan Tate and Joe Rogan and many, 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 many others have reached out to me and said that what I did was a huge part in rolling back postmodern gender ideology and the trans cult. So I don't regret it, but it still resulted in an inordinate amount of hate. And
wait, talking about that, what you said, do you think we're in the postmodern gender ideology? I feel like we're still stuck in the modern one. I mean, I know I guess we have made some headways, but like, aren't states still passing legislation letting trans people compete against biological females? Like, I know Trump signed that, but you still, like, California is fighting against it. Like, are we in the postmodern?
My understanding colloquially is when you say postmodern gender ideology, that is a reference to this kind of trans cult stuff.
We're after that. We're after that, is what you're saying.
We'd be postmodern.
Yeah. We're postmodern.
I hope we are.
We're postmodern. Gosh, that gets confusing. I don't even know where
No one knows what the hell any of men are women, women are men, up is down, down is up, and that's why I felt like it needed to be done, because truth and reality have kind of been obfuscated.
And you obfuscate the truth and reality a lot, so you're a little bit to blame when it comes to this. And just like the real Josh Seiter, though, I know that you have to be going and feeling, because I feel this all the time, and I lost my mother, and I know you've lost a parent it's affected you a lot. I know that even though you have the success, you get the clicks. I know this is hard on you. So, like, how are you doing? How is the real Josh Seiter? Not the trans Josh, not the hi, not that Josh, not hi. How is Josh Seiter, not even the stripper on The Bachelor or whatever, saying, how is the real Josh? How are you handling all this? And who is the real Josh?
Do you want the real answer?
I want the real answer. I want the real answer. I don't want the Daily Wire. You know, I know we're on the Blaze or whatever, like, because, you know, people are going to see this, but I want the real, like, who are you? And are you happy? Because I know that you have to be going through it with all this success and constantly getting hated on. So it's kind of this, like, you know, catch-22 situation.
Yeah. You know, it's not easy. Obviously, we've talked about this, why I've made some decisions that probably weren't the best because it's not easy. But I feel like I did what had to be done. I felt like someone had to stand up and call out the absurdity.
Yeah, but you didn't have to fake your own death.
Well, no, I didn't have to do that, but standing up and calling out the absurdity invited the vitriol, it invited the backlash, it invited the hate, it invited the animus that led to that decision. But to answer your question directly, I'm doing okay. It's tough, you know. I feel like at times I'm the most hated person. I feel like everyone hates me. And sometimes it's hard not to internalize the hate that you see online. So I think the important thing is to just not be online a lot, because if you are, you're going to start internalizing the comments and the messages that you read, and I get a lot of them. And so I try to separate that and understand that I am not people's opinion of me, and that people's opinion of me is an indictment on them rather than an indictment on me. But it's up and down. I'm doing okay.
You're engaged? I know you don't talk about your personal life.
Yeah, I don't talk about my personal life, but I've been with the same person for 7 years.
So even through all of these fake dating hoaxes, you're telling me that you have a lovely woman that would stick with your crazy ass. Can you explain that? I mean,
I've been with the same person since December.
In person, you mean woman, not a dude. It's not a gay thing.
It's a woman.
Don't say person like that.
Not a fake woman like a man that says they're...
Yeah, how do we know this? No, I don't even know. You see, this reminds me, how do we even know? Oh, my girlfriend goes to a different school.
Well, you asked me, and I said, do you want the fake answer or the real answer? So I'm giving you the real answer. I've been with the same woman since December of 2017. So like 7.5 years. And we're doing good. We have a cat named Oliver, which I post to my social media, but I keep a very small circle. Like, I'm friends with you. I'm friends with Tim Pool. I'm friends with, you know, Tristan Tate and a number of other people. But in my day-to-day life, I keep a very small circle of friends. But I'm doing fine. I don't want sympathy. I don't want anything. But yeah, it's definitely hard because I just see thousands and thousands of comments telling me I'm the worst person on earth, telling me I'm a horrible bigot, telling me I'm, you know,
gay.
Yeah, anything. And so it's just hard not to internalize those things, but I do my best.
Well, you know, you can handle it. I know that you've been through the ringer, I guess, when it comes to controversy, and you've been able to, you know, withstand all of this. So what do you think it would take for you to actually get canceled or be done? I mean, you've done multiple death hoaxes. You got an OnlyFans. You're blasting trans people, fake blasting trans people. You're having relations with Scott Presler. I mean, dude, what the hell is next? What can we expect, dude?
Well, you know, lots of what I do, people go, you know, what's the purpose of what you do?
What is the
Whether
purpose?
it's a social experiment or the fake relationships, I'm all about opening a dialogue. I think it's important to push the envelope. I think it's important to be a provocateur. I think it's important to always keep a dialogue going, because I think in America, the main thing that's been lost is free speech. The main thing that's been lost is people are scared to be canceled. They're scared to, you know, speak their mind. And so I always try to kind of show people that it's okay to say what you want to say. It's okay to compare woman face to black face. That's all right. You can do that. And so what's next for me is to just continue having a dialogue, whether that's coming on your show, Tim Pool's show, Sean Mike Kelly's show, George Santos' show.
Yeah, what is the real story about George Santos? You keep calling him a liar. George has always been nice to me, but He's been very nice to me, so I have no heat. I actually like George a lot. But why do you call him a liar? What did he lie to you about? Did he break your heart too, like Scott Presler?
No, I just think he's a pathological liar, and that's something that's been proven. It's public record.
But could you argue that you're a pathological liar? You lied about being dead. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
I mean, yeah, that was like a death hoax. You have the social experiment, but George just lies constantly. But I don't have anything against him. But he's a pathological liar.
Okay, that's enough about that because George is going to see this. And George, we like you. I hope George will still be friends with me. Now, you've kind of accidentally exposed Scott Presler. So what do you have to say to the critics that think that you're actually a plant put in place to make conservatives look bad, like Scott Presler or myself or Tim Pool? What do you say to those accusations that you're actually working for the left and that you're, what do they call an agent provocateur for the wrong reasons?
Yeah, I kind of lampooned this in an X post like a week and a half ago. I said, actually, I was paid and approached by leftists to, get in close with Scott Presler and watch out because it's Democratic operatives and a psyop. The truth of the matter is it was Scott's idea. He invited me there to do this, and then he got scared when he saw the backlash online. And so, the truth is the truth. I'm not a plant. I'm not a Democrat. I think most people know. I have very strong views that are, libertarian, tend to tip to the right of center. I would never identify as a liberal, but there are some things, and I express these views to you. I think there are aspects of MAGA that are cult-like.
What is your biggest complaints about MAGA? I mean, and you say MAGA, it's so funny because you're from Chicago.
Yeah,
MAGA.
MAGA.
But why what is the bad? Because I hear this too, that, Trump is too friendly to Israel, which I think he kind of needs to be, but, you're just saying, I understand why people say that. There's multiple things that theoretically you can complain about with Donald Trump, even though I think it's great what he did with January 6th. I'm not really complaining, but I can see why people have, some criticisms. Where do you land on the MAGA, good, bad? Where are your, where do you stand in that whole conservatives that like Trump, but also criticize Trump?
Yeah, I think Trump, no doubt about it, unequivocally net positive for America. What he did in those first couple of weeks with his executive orders, I mean, the fact that we even had to rely on Donald Trump to tell America there's two genders, basically two sexes, and we had to get men out of women's sports and get mentally ill people out of the military, I think that was all amazing. I think he's done a lot of amazing things. But I do think there's kind of a cult of personality around him.
What does that mean, cult of personality?
In the MAGA movement. I think people kind of go along with anything he says instead of weighing whether there are drawbacks to certain things he's advocating. And I think there are things that he has done and said that are objectively not good. And I think it's okay to criticize the president. I think it's okay to criticize Trump, just like we did George Bush when it came to the war in Iraq and other policies of his. It's okay to criticize Trump, and I think people are reticent to do that, and they're afraid to do that, and that's what I mean when I refer to a cult of personality and when I refer to MAGA having cult-like aspects to it. But overall, I think Trump has been a net benefit to the country. I think he is doing amazing things to roll back the insanity and absurdity in the clown world and circus that we're living under with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But I think there are some fanatical parts to his movement, and I think there are some dangerous aspects to it. If I were to describe myself, I would say I'm a libertarian that tends to lean right. But look, I hate big government. I hate government telling us what to do, whether that's a crazy leftist trying to tell us how we can talk, or a hardcore person on the right trying to say that, I don't know, two guys can't get married or whatever. I think government needs to stay out of our lives, and I don't like it when the left meddles in our lives, and I don't like it when the right does. I also think that women should have access to abortions. I think that for me,
you like abortion?
I think in a lot of cases, women should have access to abortion. And
why?
I
Though?
don't
You don't think
like
that it's a
government.
murdering a baby? You really like abortion?
I don't like abortion, but if you've ever read the book Freakonomics, they make a very good argument.
What is the Freakonomics thing? Because aren't these people going to get jobs and contribute to the economy?
Crime tends to spike when you proscribe abortion. And so history has shown that the more that you proscribe abortion and make it illegal, crime almost always spikes. And there's
Why? Because you're saying ghetto people are having their babies and their babies are growing up.
not always, but economically disadvantaged social groups tend to get abortions at higher rates.
I can't believe
when
you like
don't allow that-
abortion.
I'm not saying I like it. I think you're twisting my words.
Well, you know what I
think
mean,
that's
but I'm just
fair.
saying.
But there are certain aspects that I don't like that to me are draconian on both the left and the right, and I don't.
Well, what about the baby? No, real quick, because let's talk about this abortion thing. And I used to be kind of like you when I was in college and stuff. I was like, well, I get why a woman, it's her body, like she has a choice. But don't you think the baby should have a little say so in this?
I think it depends at what part we're talking about. I think if it's very, very early on in the woman's pregnancy.
Yeah, because what is Trump? I think Trump agrees with that.
I personally don't know.
I think I was listening to Bill Maher, and he had this really smart woman on the show, and she said that Trump is okay with abortion up to 12 weeks, I believe, so it's 3 months. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's 100% true. It might be. But so you're kind of in the Trump phase?
Yeah, I just am saying someone who would say women should not have any access to abortion, I would disagree with that. I just don't like big government, whether they're trying to take people's guns away or trying to tell people what they can do in their bedrooms. I don't like it, whether it's coming from the left or the right. But I believe usually that draconian aspect is coming from the left, and that's why I don't like people on the left. But I also see it in some parts on the right, and I can see it with some parts of the MAGA movement.
For 200,000 Instagram followers, would you have sex with Milo Yiannopoulos?
No, but I'm not gay. But
You just have to have sex.
I'm friends with Milo. Milo's really cool, and actually, me and Milo just did a little bit yesterday. What
did you do yesterday? His poor cat. I feel bad.
Yeah, and if anyone sees his cat, I think he's in LA. His little Bengal cat. It's a super cute cat. It's missing.
Real quick, I want to make a statement on this. I'm going to see Milo soon. And everybody's being nice to Milo, and I think we should. He's going through a tough time. I love my animals. But Milo has, there's 50 fucking videos of him walking around with a cat with no leash. So, I mean, that's what makes me mad, is you saw those videos of him without a leash. This was inevitable. This was going to happen. You keep on taking your Bengal cat outside without a leash. But I still want you to get your cat back. I still don't think you deserve to have your cat leave you. And I know your cat loves you, and they were just exploring. But sadly, you're in California. It's not a safe place. So I'm really worried. I think the cat will come back. I actually do believe that. I'm not just trying to put out positive energy to put out positive energy. I think that cat's probably hiding or having fun, and I think it'll come back in a little bit. So what do you think's going to happen with Milo's cat?
I hope it comes home. I think Milo doesn't get enough credit. He is one of the progenitors, and
he is one of the progenitors. He was one of the first people to do this. I agree with you on
campus
that.
debating and polemics and what you see Charlie Kirk doing. And
But let me use Milo as a perfect example, because we'll have a couple minutes left. Milo did start a lot of this. He was at the forefront of it. He had a conversation. Like you talk about creating a conversation. He created the conversation. He was the original conversation starter.
Provocateur.
He was the top, number one. I'm going to give him all of his flowers. I'm going to give him all the kudos. He made it to where he's working with Marjorie Taylor Greene. When he was on a downfall, he was still working with congresswomen. He's still doing good. Even at his lowest points, he's working with Kanye West, arguably one of the greatest rappers of all time and artists of all time. But what keeps happening with Milo? What is something that happens to Milo? He self-sabotages. Anytime he has something good happen, and I do this too, I hope I don't do it as bad as Milo. You do it too. You have the Scott Presler thing. So I'm just saying, we need to use Milo as a tool to motivation. I want to strive to be like that. I want to be agent provocateur. But we need to learn from his mistakes for all of the self-inflicted wounds that he's faced, that I think he would admit to, that you know that he's done, that I know that he's done, that he knows that he has done, so that you don't make those same mistakes, Josh, so that I don't make those same mistakes.
Yeah, it's easy to judge somebody that's hated, and I can't think of anyone that's more hated than Milo by the left, and maybe things that they do are a reaction to the hate and the animus that they're getting. And so, has Milo made mistakes? Sure. Have I made mistakes? Sure. Have you? Yes. But lots of times the actions we take are a reaction to stuff that's coming our way, and I think all we can do is try to navigate as best we can. And we all are fallible, we all make mistakes, but all we can do is try to be better humans. I make that pledge to try to be a better human. And so I think Milo is doing well given the amount of hate that he's gotten in his life.
It is, and it's hard because when you hear all that negative energy, and I get a lot of it. I don't get as much as you or Milo, but it does have an effect with me. How it affects me is like I read a lot of positive comments, but I can read 100 positive comments. It's the one really mean negative comment that actually sticks with me. And, now that's probably going to encourage more people to write stuff. But Josh, this is what you signed up for, bud. This is what I signed up. That's what I tell myself. I'm just saying, that's what I tell myself. When I read that mean comment that tells me to do what to myself and this, or I'm fat, I'm this and that, I say, you know what? I signed up for this. So this is comes with the territory. You signed up to be a crazy SOB, whether you like it or not, you are one. And so it's going to come with the territory. So you can't be a victim. So I guess, all I want out of our conversation is I don't think I was hard enough. I'm probably going to get, flack, but you're my friend. We've been friends. And I see the Scott Presler thing now. You're kind of exposing him for him doing something inappropriate years ago. Everybody has a history. I don't want to see you lose both sides that support you. So I want you to be very careful when it comes to another decision. And I would like it next time if you're going to kill yourself or fake kill yourself. Why didn't you call me? I guess you didn't want to ruin the thing. You don't think I could keep the secret?
Like call you to kill me?
No, to be like, hey, Alex, I'm about to do a death hoax. You might get some calls from Daily Mail, and guess what? I'm not dead.
Did they really contact?
They did. How did I know that guy's name? How would I know Jules' name? What's his name? Jacques?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's actually friends too with Heather McDonald, who is awesome.
Who had
she fainted on stage, but after I did the trans hoax, I won't get into details. She reached out and was very supportive and is a very good person. So good people. Jocks and Heather are good people.
Well, that's good news. All right, Josh, before we go, tell the people how can they find you and how can they support you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Josh Seiter Official and on Twitter at Josh_Seiter. And maybe you'll see me in real life. And if you do, say what's up.
And who are you going to have a fake gay relationship with next? Who are we thinking? Jimmy, give me some ideas. Who can you have a fake gay relationship with?
I think Brandon Straka's a good
Brandon
choice.
Straka's perfect! Jimmy!
Yep.
Set up. I found your next
Who's that?
boyfriend.
Well, I'd rather do it with a girl.
Nope. Sorry. We're doing it this one. It's going to go viral. Jimmy, Brandon Straka, you're going to be... You don't know who Brandon Straka is?
Who is
He went
that?
to jail for January 6th. He stormed the Capitol.
No, I thought they
he
were all
allegedly just
straight-
filmed
straight
outside
guys.
it.
He just filmed outside, but he went to jail. But he created the walkaway movement.
I was on Tim Pool with the lectern guy.
Lectern guy's different. We like lectern guy, but it's funny. Brandon is a nice guy, friend of the show. Like Brandon, he loves Jimmy. But we got to wrap things up.
I'll pass, but find me.
No,
a
do not
hot
pass
girl.
yet. It's a good idea. Just wait. Let me flesh it out real quick, but it's a good idea. Brandon Straka, actually, he created the walkaway movement, and I was talking to him about it one time, and I was like, oh, yeah, everybody likes walkaway movement. It's a gay movement. He's like, Alex, this is not a gay movement. Everybody's in the walkaway, and he got really mad at me. So I just want to say that the walkaway movement is not a gay movement. It is actually a movement for all sexualities, orientations, ethnicities. It is a movement for people that are sick of the left wing that is trying to control the narrative and walk away. So want to give a shout out to Brandon Straka, your new future husband. Say, I love Brandon Straka. One time into the camera. Say, I love Brandon Straka.
I love hot women.
And Brandon Straka's big.
I support Brendan Straka's right to be gay.
And you want to be
not
gay? You want to
trans.
support? You want to be gay with him a little? You support to be gay? All right. Well, we'll get you on to the gay side. All right, guys. That's been our show. Everybody, go support Josh. We love Josh, friend of the show. Thank you, Josh, for getting us on Joe Rogan. That's like a white supremacist thing. What are you doing?
No, it's not.
What is it, Jimmy? Was that a white supremacy thing?
Absolutely.
We're gonna get. Now you're a white
That's what
supremacist.
Drake does, the Six.
You're a white supremacist now. Are you a white supremacist?
Well, they act like I'm Nick Fuentes.
You should.
Fuentes hates. Nick Fuentes was just talking about me on his podcast.
Everything he
tried to
said is
say
right. I'm on Nick's side. And why don't you go? Actually, I'm not on Nick's side on anything. But
Yeah, why would you say that? He tried to say I was short and fat, and I was like, that's what you are. So it's weird that he was calling his projection, I guess.
you should go in Nick's DMs and see if he answers.
Well, him and Destiny are hooked up, I think.
No, they didn't. He did. That wasn't Nick in that video with Destiny.
I heard it was, allegedly.
I heard that too.
Everyone's gay, man.
Everybody's
Everybody's
gay.
gay. Even Nick Fuentes, allegedly.
Well, I don't know about that, but it seems like everybody's gay. Maybe there's the fluoride in their water is making us
Ask
gay.
Alex Jones why everyone's turning gay. I need to know that.
Alex Jones knows. All right, guys, that's been our show. We end the show the same way every time with that freestyle finale. So, DJ, hit that beat. Yo! Josh is not gay. I don't give a damn what you say. All he did was a little ass play with Scott Presler. They were in Pennsylvania. They were getting weird. I don't give a damn what you say. Josh is not gay. He's not gay. He's super straight. Loves chicks, not with dicks. Loves their vagina. Loves him every time. He is not dead. Look at him, his head. He's alive, and he's about to get a wife, and he is straight. All right, guys, I love you. Hit that link, hit that like button, share it, and everybody go show Josh some love. Tell him I sent you. Peace and good night, guys.